and welcome to our latest episode of Between Two Teachers. I'm Madeline Kronenberg.
And I'm Consuelo Lara.
And we're here again. Now school has started. This is after the first week of school of 2019, the fall season. And we started this week, not at the beginning, not at our school sites, but in Sacramento. Consuelo and I drove to Sacramento to see a hearing, to appear at and participate in a hearing on one of the charter bills that we've talked about in previous episodes. 1505 is the bill, and we both spoke in favor of it. And it's sort of a complicated little story because it turns out bills are not easy things, and what happens is there are certain procedures and protocols around how they are presented to our legislators. And this particular one was, we reached the point where it had been passed in the Assembly and then brought to the state Senate. And it was in the Appropriations Committee, which is where funding, you know that you're going to get funding for it, and all bills require funding. So the Appropriations Committee was looking at the bill, and in the process of doing that, the original bill had received some suggestions, amendments from other people, from other members of the legislature. And those suggestions dramatically limited what the bill was going to do. And the main purpose of the bill is to be able to narrow the way the charter schools are authorized in California. And right now, it's very difficult to not approve a charter school as long as there is 100 people sign a document saying that they're going to go, and it basically meets the general fiscal requirements. And they're not very stringent at all. So the idea with this bill was to try to make it so that it became clear that that children who are in district schools could be saved from having the fiscal impact that has happened. So for example, in CONTRA COSTA, the fiscal impact is $27.9 million a year that district children lose. And this is not because paying the teachers in the other schools, but just from the budget of district children. And that loss is very substantial and something that is incredibly difficult to overcome. So I will send it to you.
Yes, so the two main factors for me, as a school board member, newly elected, my day one, I had to cut, $12 million from the budget, and I know it's coming, we're gonna have to cut more. And so we're grappling with that. Where do we cut, what do we cut, etc. And then, here comes a investor who says, we want to make more money with more charters, we want to expand them, we want to increase them, and you have to do that because it's the law. So we look at how the negative financial impact that this is having, and I need to be able to say, no, we can't do that. And so this law needs to be changed so that I have local control. So I and my board members, that we have local control, and it stops there. Because we're saturated. We have 14 schools already. We don't need to expand and have more. So to be able to stop that and say, okay, financial impact says, I can say no. It's not going to close any schools, and it's not going to give us money back. It's just going to stop more money having to leave from our most vulnerable kids, because we are 72% low income. We need all the money that we have. We have very vulnerable students. And the second piece of that has to do with the appeal process. That if we do convince our board, yeah, we better vote no regardless, they can go to the county. And the county has a little bit less oversight because they're all the way in, Martinez, and the school is over here. So that kind of is to their benefit. Or they can go to the state. And we've been through that process already when we went to the state where they were hearing for a charter. So that's kind of the dilemma that we're in, and I'm just appealing to those lawmakers to understand the situations that we're in and how unfair it is to our district to have that appeal process in place and to not be able to consider financial impact on our district. So.
And that is what we're trying to make sure that as we go forward. This is between two teachers, a fern and a dog. This is Cooper, who's been here before and is passing through, and is the pitter patter that you're hearing on this episode. But what we're hoping is that as this bill is going to go forward through appropriations and then to be voted on by the full Senate, and hopefully to be signed by the governor. And what our hope is that we do retain local control, that districts that are saturated, which is the term that came from the governor's task force, are not put in even more financial danger. And that really is incredibly important to children in California's urban districts, which are the ones that are most affected. We've posted about this. It's on our Facebook page. It's on our Twitter page. You can see the links to the cost of charter schools. You can see the video for when Contra COSTA's cost of charter schools, the $27.9 million figure was arrived at. And that figure will only grow and hurt our other children if the charter schools are able to continue to grow their enrollment. So that's been our thrust. I do hope anybody who's listening to this pays attention. There's also been a petition gathering, signature gathering effort that I've put a link to on our Facebook page and on our Twitter page that allows you to sign a petition saying that you support local control and you support not having these bills be amended so that they really mean nothing. And there were amendments, the amendments that were put in that were ultimately not accepted by the author. And the author of the 1505 is Assemblymember Patrick O'Donnell. And Mr. O'Donnell is a former school teacher. And if we were going to interview anybody, we could go to Sacramento and interview Mr. O'Donnell.
I think that'd be great.
Because Mr. O'Donnell is a champion for education justice. He really is. And when I saw him at the Red for Ed rally, and he led it, he was extraordinary and gave a great speech. And this is his. So I'm so happy that he did not accept the amendments and that we're going to be able to go forward with the original bill. And there's still, nothing is perfect, but at least this is definitely a step in the right direction. So please sign the petition and join us in this fight.
Yes, and our shout out to the various staff people and that we got to speak to. They were so wonderful. The staff of Buffy Wicks and Nancy Skinner and Mr. O'Donnell.
And Mr. O'Donnell, his chief of staff.
The chief of staff, and also of Tony Thurman's office as well. It's always enlightening, and they always are informative, and we thank them for their time. And
then we did it. You may have seen the video we did on the way back, which was an unusual thing for us.
We were just too excited.
We wanted to share it out and also share out our frustration at what was happening. But
yes.
The news is better since then because
yes.
those amendments.
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell didn't accept the amendments.
Maybe because of us.
Yes. Sure, we'll take credit.
Sure. We succeeded.
But at least we did let people know. This is it. We're about local control and transparency.
Yes.
These are the things we're about.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to say a few words about the last board meeting. We're looking at an equity policy, which I think is going to be great for us to do. It's Board Member Hernandez Jarvis has brought up equity, inclusion, and diversity several times, and so we are going to move on that soon, I hope. So that's a big one. And then we had a resolution brought to us for a first read on the African American achievement in West Contra Costa Unified School Districts. And that was very exciting conversation. And the board members are unanimous in supporting this and wanting to make sure, like I think Mr. Phillips said, that this becomes institutionalized, that there is this support in place always.
Yeah, and this is the funding stream that has to be established, right? And so as we're talking here about funding, it gets so very complicated because choices have to be made as the budget shrinks. And that's the important thing, that this, Between Two Teachers was not set up to be something just about money. But it turns out that if you don't talk about the resources and talk about money, you can talk about programs, but your programs are simply dreams that you can't fund. It's important that you be really scrupulous and clear about your money. And that's what we're trying to do. We're going to need to do that as the budget issues develop. And now,
He agrees.
He agrees.
He
He agrees.
agrees.
Cooper agrees. As the budget issues develop, and it's going to be a difficult conversation, but the most important thing is that it be a conversation that is not at all in the dark, that everybody knows who's at the table, and everybody understands why we're in whatever predicament we might be in, especially around cutting, and being able to put together a budget that is realistic, that you know you're not going to have to be in that position next year. That's the key
Exactly,
thing.
exactly. Yeah, for sure.
So, thank you all very much. I think we'll end it right here for now, and for a while I think we're going to be a Saturday show, so look for us on Saturday.
Thank you.
Bye.